Greetings to all of you. I, Dr. Neeru Gupta, Assistant Professor in Maharaja Agrawal University, will deliver a lecture on sampling methods, which is a topic of a business statistics. Okay, first of all, we talk about the sample. We should know what is the sample. Whatever the research we do, for that we collect the data. Data what? Which is our population. Population is what? The area which we have taken. Okay. So first of all, we will take the sample from the population because it is very tough to do the research on the whole population. So for that, we will take the sample. But there are some techniques of sampling right? In a statistical study, sampling methods refer to how we select members from the population to be in the study. Whatever the population, from that population, which kind of sample we will take, that we will study in this PPTs. If a sample is not randomly selected, it will probably be biased in some way and the data may not be representative of the population. There are many ways to select a sample. Some are good, some are bad. In which sense some are good or some are bad? If they are biased, then that is a bad sample. If that is not biased, then that is a good sample. See, this is one of the example. This is a population. You can see there are 6 bricks of the light brown color and then 9 bricks of the dark brown color and there are number of bricks of the sky blue color. I am showing here 2 samples. Okay, one is a, see the first one, sample 1. Okay, there are the large number of the sky blue bricks. We have taken the proportionate data from the population. But in sample 2, what you can see? The less number of bricks, but in sample we have taken the large number of that kind of bricks. That is a biased sample, which is not good for a appropriate research. Now, these are the 2 techniques of the sampling. See, population and then sample. Sample is what? Sample is a subset of the population. Sample can be equal to the population. If our population is small, then sample can be equal to the population. There are 2 techniques of the sampling, non-probability sample and probability sample. Now, what are the characteristics of probability sampling? Every unit of the population has the same probability of being included in the sample. Means to say, whatever the number of the population, each member of the population has the equal chance of the selection. A chance mechanism is used in the selection process. It eliminates the biasness. Means to say, biasness will not be there. That is randomly the sample will be selected. That's why this is also called a random sampling. And what are the characteristics of the non-probability sampling? Every unit of the population does not have the same probability of being included in the sample. In the probability sample, what was there? Every member of the population, every unit of the population has the same chance of selection, but in non-probability, it doesn't have the same probability of being included in the sample. It opens up the selection of the bias. Biasness can be there. Not an appropriate data collection method for most of the statistical analysis. It is also known as non-random sampling. Okay. Probability sampling is random sampling and non-probability sampling is non-random sampling. See, these are some methods of the probability sampling and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling methods: simple random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified sampling. And in the in the non-probability sampling method, convenience sampling, judgmental or purposive sampling, snowball sampling, and the quota sampling. First, we will discuss the probability sampling method. See, this is one of the example. First of all, just look at this example. A teacher puts student's name in a hat and chooses without looking to get a sample of the student. Okay, see, there are suppose 40 students. I want to select a student for some activity. I put the names of all the students in this cap. Every member, and then I will select one of the from that cap. Then what it means, every member has an equal chance of being included in this sample. Why it is good? Random samples are usually fairly representative. Why it's fairly? Because there is no biasness. Everyone has a equal chance. Okay, since they don't favor certain members, right? Next, see, simple. So what is that? That is a simple random sampling. Lottery method, that is the simple random sampling. What is the purpose of this? This random and representative sample from a large population. And this sampling is used when population is small and produces better representative. And what is the main thing of this sampling? All members of a population has equal probability. As earlier I have told you, probability sampling means every unit of the population has the equal chance of the selection. How we will do? We will assign numbers to member of the population and then we will select randomly. As I have given you examples, suppose there are 40 students, what I will do? I will put the lottery, I will put the slip of every student. Similarly, I can assign the numbers or whatever I want. Okay. And manually it's a lottery method. And if there is a large population, system generated number. Have you, if you remember, there was some lottery, GTV sim lottery, some numbers were there, and automatically the numbers come, and the one of the number if come, that is that win the game. What is that? That if the population is large. What are the advantages of the simple random sampling? It is easy, better representativeness, low sampling error, and no prior information is required. And what are the disadvantages of this kind of sampling? Biased sample does not reflect proportionate representation, difficult when population is larger. You can see this example. I have put this example 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 members. I just assign the number and then randomly I select that, and this, the whatever in the last it comes, that is my sample. Now see the another one example. A student council survey 50 students by getting random samples of 25 juniors and 25 seniors. Okay, 50 students in which 25 are juniors and 25 are seniors. Then this sample guarantees that members from each group will be represented in the sample. So this sampling method is good when we want some members from every group. I think you can little bit have the idea which kind of sampling can be. Okay, yes, this is a stratified random sampling. What do you mean by stratified? Stratified means to say from the strata, whatever the sample we have taken from the strata. Strata means some groups. Okay, that group are the homogeneous characteristics. Okay, so what is the purpose of this kind of random sampling? Stratified random sampling, unbiased random sample from a large population, whatever the probability sampling, all are unbiased random sample. And this population, this sampling is used when population proportion reflected in sample. And what is the main thing? Sample proportion is same as population proportion. जो भी population की total है, उसके proportionally ही उसको suppose if we are having 200 population, okay, and I have to choose the 100, then 50% of from the each. Strata is homogeneous, I have told you earlier. And how we will do this kind of sampling? Divide the population into stratas, or we can say the groups. And what is the criteria of dividing that into stratas or groups? Gender, hair color, eye color, salary, designation, age. There are so many characters. Okay, on this basis, we divide into the groups. And simple random sampling approaches to the stratas. What are the advantages of this kind of sampling? Enhancement of representativeness of a sample, easy to carry out, higher statistically efficiency. And what is the disadvantage? Classification error, time consuming. Why it is time consuming? Because must be divided into the stratas. Okay, and that's why it is expensive too. Now see the another one example. A principal takes an alphabetic list of students names and picks a random starting point. Every fourth student is selected to take a survey. Okay, Why it is good? The sample includes every fourth person, but first person chosen randomly. I think, can you think which kind of sampling is this? Yes, this is a systematic. Systematic, we make a system like fourth person, fifth person, 10th person. That depends upon the number of the persons, number of the units in your population. When we use this kind of systematic sampling, when project budget is tight and less time to complete. Because if you make the, you can say, ma'am, why will not make the stratas, or but that is expensive and time consuming also. And what is the main thing? But how we will divide? Find the kth value to select every kth number. Kth value means to say, suppose there are 50 students. Okay, then I will divide it by 5. Then my kth value is 10. 10, 10, 10 if I have to take the sample size 5. Okay, so that depends upon how I will collect the kth number. And how I will do? Assign numbers to each population members, and then I will make the system of that sample. Randomly select first person and then select every kth person. What are the advantages? See, in this example, you can see 50 students are there. Okay. Then I have taken every fourth student or fifth student. But what are the advantages? Easy to select, sample, evenly spread over entire references population, no biasness, and cost effective, less cost. Okay. And disadvantage, each element does not have equal chance. Okay, ignorance of all elements between two kth elements. This can be the possibility of that. Now, see the another one example. An airline company wants to serve its customer one day. So they randomly select 5 flights that day and survey every passengers on those flights. Why? But this sample gets every member from some of the groups. So it is good when each group reflects the population as a whole. What kind of sampling is this? This is a cluster sampling. Cluster is also a kind of a group. Strata is also a kind of a group. Cluster is also a kind of a group. Then what is, when we can use, when population is already broken into some groups. Suppose we have make the stratas, okay, junior and seniors. Now in juniors and seniors, suppose age wise or some other, we make that groups into the subgroups, then that is a cluster. Okay. What is the main key thing of this kind of sampling? Heterogeneous members in each group. In that, homogeneous, and in this, heterogeneous. And how we will do this kind of sampling? Population is divided into non-overlapping areas. Each cluster is miniature or microcosm of a population. And clusters are selected randomly, and all elements are included or elements are chosen using simple random sample. What are the advantages of this kind of cluster sampling? More convenient for geographically dispersed population. We can see that district wise we can take the sample. We can make the clusters according to the districts. Less travel costs, simplified administrative of the survey. And what are the disadvantages? Statistically less efficient. Sampling error is higher because when we divide group into the subgroup, they obviously then there can be the chances of the error, and problems are higher than the simple random sampling. Okay. Now, non-random sampling, the another one, non-probabilistic methods, now that is called a non-random sampling also. There are 4 methods: convenience sampling, judgmental or purposive sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. Now, see this one, this example. A researcher polls people as they walk by on the street. Bad ways to sample. The researcher chooses a sample that is readily available in some non-random way. Why it's probably biased? The location and time of day and other factors may produce a biased sample of people. Sometimes you have seen on the roads or outside the hotels or some movie halls. Some students are standing, they have to collect the data. They have to collect these data for some district. Okay. But they will stand outside the movie halls or malls and all, because that is convenient, and they collect the sample from that area also only. Okay, then that is a biasness of the that is the biasness of the sample. Okay. See, this is what convenience sampling. The researcher, what the researcher do? Researcher collect the data according to the convenience of himself or herself. When we use the convenience sampling, when population is not clearly defined or sampling unit is not clear or complete source list is not available. Okay. When to use? Population is not clearly defined, sampling unit is not clear, or complete source list is also not available. What is the main thing about the convenience sampling? Subjects for a study are easily available within the proximity of the researcher. Proximity, reach of the researcher. It is done at the convenience of the researcher. And whichever, how this sample is selected, whichever individuals are easiest to reach and they are convenient. And what are the advantages? Ease to availability, saves time, money, and useful in the pilot study. But now the question comes, what is the pilot study? When you make the questionnaire to check the validity of your questionnaire, suppose you have to take the sample of 200. Okay, then what will you do? You will fill your questionnaire by the 50. Okay, so 50 you can take the convenience sampling. You can choose the convenience sampling. What are the disadvantages? Bias sample, sampling error, and results cannot be generalized because you have taken the data on your convenience. Now, the next one, see the example. People who owns the quality expected by the researcher. The researcher uses their knowledge and judgment to include or exclude people in the sample. See, this is called the judgmental sampling, or you can say purposive sampling. When to use? The sample is selected based upon judgment. Also, the researcher must be confident that the chosen sample is truly representative of the entire population. And the main thing of this kind of sampling is that the researcher selects a sample based on experience or knowledge of the group to be sampled. And basis of the researcher knowledge and judgment. From where the researcher take this knowledge? From his guide, sometimes his guide or sometimes expertise of that particular subject, of that topic. They suggest the researcher to collect the data from that and then so and so person. Okay, and on that basis, the researcher collect the data from the particular person or particular area. What are the advantages? Consume minimum time, real-time results, but on the other hand, there are some disadvantages also. Selection biasness, selection of proper sample size. Okay, see the another one. An interviewer may be told to sample 200 females and 300 males between the age of 45 and 50. Sample the people till the quota is met. As by name, this is called the quota sampling. Okay, quota sampling. If a study aims to investigate a trait or a characteristic of a certain subgroup, if we have to study over a certain subgroup, then this time sampling technique is ideal. What is the main thing of this quota sampling? Sample elements are selected until the quota controls are satisfied. And first identify the stratums and their proportions as they are represented in the population. Advantages: when the respondents refuse to cooperate, he may be replaced by another person who is ready to furnish information. Less expensive, speedy, convenience in execution. And what are the disadvantages? Biasness, lack of valuable data. It is there is one cluster sampling, stratified sampling, but that is a probability sampling, and this is a non-probability sampling. Okay. Then see this one example. Survey the people who are involved in the legal activities. Okay. See, one person, then reference 2, then 3, then more and more. Yeah, this sampling is called the snowball sampling. Okay, snowball. You have seen when we make the ball of snow and we put through into another, it's scattered. Okay, that's why it's this process is also like works on the same process. When the desired sample characteristic is rare, then we use this snowball sampling. And what is the main thing? Researcher starts with a key person and introduce the next one to become a chain. It is a chain process. Okay. Suppose I give my questionnaire to some known to me. He will suggest to other two who is known to him to fill this questionnaire. That other two will suggest next two or three. This is like this. This process works like this. So it may be extremely difficult or cost prohibitive to locate respondents in these situations. How it work? Identify an initial subject and ask these people to identify others too. And this technique relies on referrals, totally on referrals from initial subject to generate additional subjects. What are the advantages? Lower search cost. But disadvantages introduces biasness because you are not aware about the all respondents. Okay. See, this is all about the sampling techniques, probability and non-probability sampling. But I use this term error in sampling, error in sampling. What is this error in sampling? Sampling error or random sampling error. The another one is non-sampling error or a systematic errors. Sampling errors occurs when sample is not representative of the population, but non-sampling error occurs during data collection, causing the data to differ from the true value. Okay, what kind of errors in the sampling? Data from non-random samples are not appropriate for analysis by inferential statistic methods. Second, sampling errors occurs when the sample is not representative of the population. Whatever the sample we are taking, that is not fully representing the population. And non-sampling errors, missing data, recording of the data entry, analysis error, poorly conceived concepts, unclear definitions, defective questions in the questionnaire. Response errors occur when people so not know, will not say or overstate in their answer. Sometimes the respondents doesn't know the meaning of the questions. Okay. So that is what we have discussed in our last. Thank you. Thank you.